Well, Martin Luther King Jr., he had this vision of a beloved community where we look for ways to help others.
Yes, a week of service might inspire you to help local families in truly meaningful ways. That's the hope of our next guests.
Deidre Andrews and Barb Farrow are both from the United Way of the Midlands. Good to have you both.
Nice to have you
here this morning.
Welcome
Listen,
back.
Next week, we're not sitting around, right? We're getting out, we're getting active. It's a week of service. What do you have planned?
Yes, well, it's a little spin on it. We are asking people to donate items and do a product drive on behalf of this week of service for organizations across the city. You know, typically when we have some of our other volunteer engagements, that means, you know, actually getting out in the community and maybe doing some physical labor. This time we wanted to kind of make it a little easier for folks, you know, coming off the holiday season and still kind of getting the vacation off of them. So we're just wanting to make it easy enough where you can gather your friends, co-workers in your workplace and try to gather some items that are necessary and needed for several nonprofit organizations across the city.
We're looking now at your website, and there's information online, and we'll make sure you know more about that. But you said several organizations. There are 6?
There are 6. We have 3 that are focusing on collecting items that encapsulate kind of the basic needs, you know, hygiene kits, you know, things that are necessary to kind of help every day, basic needs. And so we have Sienna Francis House, the Stevens Center, and the Gnomes Place over in Council Bluffs. And as far as our literacy component, we have our early childhood literacy program that we're working to facilitate. And so there are a number of agencies where folks can donate books for children ages birth through 5 years old. And so we're looking to collect those as well. And that's Visiting Nurses Association, Family Inc., also in Council Bluffs, and then there's Lutheran Family Services.
Man, 6 great causes.
Yes.
And we look at the work they're
And
doing.
a lot of different items. You have a lot of options with the books and clothing and other items that people can donate. How can our viewers take part? I mean, how do you want them to get the ball rolling on this?
Sure, it's easy. Just go on our website, and all you have to do is just pick one of those agencies, register, you know, collect your team of individuals, and just spend that week collecting those items between January 11th through the 18th, and you can drop them off at the designated nonprofit organizations. And of course, we can make arrangements if there needs to be a pickup. We can coordinate that as well.
How did you decide, as you were kind of, what are we going to do here? Who are we going to help and why? And you were assessing the needs. What went into that process?
That's the beauty of having colleagues that, you know, are really in the trenches and working with the nonprofit organizations and having those conversations, and they really know what organizations kind of need what.
Right.
And so we were able just to kind of have that conversation initially and planning for this event, and that's how we kind of came to that decision.
Well, listen, I was looking at the top. I was looking at the top item. I was looking at the top item. Men's white tube socks, underwear, and T-shirts. That's every man. Whether you're a man in need or not, every man needs that stuff.
Yes.
We have got dozens of items on this list, and some of these are the things that, like, you typically think if there's a drive, yeah, I understand these are the staples, but then there are a few other things that seem a little bit more unconventional in nature if we're looking at drives. It's stuff like those Ziploc baggies, like coffee makers, vacuum cleaners, sheets, pots and pans. All of those things are needed by one of these 6 organizations.
Absolutely.
Socks, pillows, sheets.
And one of the organizations is new, and so they're, you know, fledgling, and they're still trying to collect items and make sure that they have those things available for their clients that come in. And so typically most of the items are things that we would take for granted, but you know, if you're in a situation with the colder temperatures, especially this weekend, I hear it's supposed to be drastically cold. So, you know, just like you said, socks, you know, mittens, gloves, you just can't assume that everyone has those items and those apparel.
UnitedWayMidlands.org, that's the website. Barb, we have the week of service that starts on Monday, all next week, where our viewers can get involved in this drive. But paint the bigger picture for us about United Way and what your needs are throughout the year.
Sure. So we want people to know that there are ways to engage with United Way throughout the year, many ways. So we have some signature events, like for instance, Day of Caring that we held last October, where we coordinated volunteer projects at human service agencies across the city, and we had over 900 volunteers participate in that one day of volunteering and giving back to the community. But we also have, you know, we can coordinate custom opportunities for maybe a group of employees that wants to do a volunteer project together. And Deidre, as our Director of Community Engagement, is really the go-to person for helping people within the community who want to volunteer and give back, get them coordinated with the needs that exist in the community.
Yeah, before we show some information, volunteering is really the backbone of your organization. What are you seeing? Are people more willing these days to give up some of their time, or what's the trend you're seeing?
I think people are. I think people want to give back, and I think there's a lot of research and just anecdotal evidence out there that employers are happier and healthier and even more productive, or employees are when they're giving back to their communities. So I think.
Need to see employers. I think the last time you were on, one of those companies that just had gobs of employees that were going out for one of those service projects, that they were working together, and they realized how it was affecting morale in the workplace. But then you also see in the community as different areas of the area sort of start to, they're lifted up, and people feel like there's hope. They understand these resources are available. They're getting connected to it. And it speaks back to Martin Luther King Jr. and really looking around and deciding, what can I do today to help someone else? Maybe make it a whole week, starting on Monday, and online. It's unitedwaymidlands.org/MLK to learn about this drive specifically.
Deidre, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Good to
Barb,
see you
good
again,
to see you
Barb.
again.
Yeah, thank you.
Yesterday